what were the worst parts about the worst day that you were going through? Was it the lack of not being with your family? Was it being out of the house? What was it?
Um, so it was imagining me being this father who just saw his kids on Saturday and Sunday.
Mm.
It was imagining me being this father who is unemployed, who doesn't have a driver's license to take them anywhere. Like
Mm.
I started the fear set in and realization that I'm this person now. Like I could lose my job. I'm on the way to losing my license.
Mm.
I could be homeless. Now I'm picturing and imagining myself standing in front of the judge asking for visitation
Mm.
and with my children, and I have nowhere to take them. And I'm not suitable. I'm not a suitable father. And I'd have these supervised visits.
Mm.
So I everything that I created became a reality in that moment because in that moment that's who I was and that I finally was accepting it. But it wasn't just like one day I was here.
Right.
I made a series of choices and I knew before I made those choices I was doing the wrong thing.
Right.
And I always thought I could fix it later. I could
Mm.
fix it later. I could fix it later. And they piled up.
Mm.
And before I knew it, I couldn't carry that weight. I
Mm.
couldn't hide it. All the stuff that piled up, I couldn't hide it. And everyone around me knew. The people that I thought who didn't know, I realized they did know. And it was lonely. It was lonely and in a sense too, because I was kind of an isolated person. I'm social, but I was private, and so what I wanted to become as a father and a man, I didn't have that living example in front of me.
Mm.
So if I'm going to change right now and I'm going to get out of this, who do I look to? What's the picture that I'm looking at? What's the
Mm.
life that I'm imitating? That's a living example right in front of me. And I couldn't see that. So I had to imagine that as well.
Right.
I also, because people, when they're going through things like this, they don't talk about it.
Right.
And when I don't know anyone in my family or friends, uncles, grandfathers who overcame alcoholism. No one
Right.
talks about it. I didn't
Right.
see it. No one, it's not, no one's saying, hey, I was rock bottom and then I did this. Where's the blueprint for what I want to do?
Right.
Um, so that inspired me to be that later. But while I was vulnerable, this really didn't give me hope because I'm like, what do I do now? How do I fix this?
Yeah, and there's two things that come to my mind. One is we talked about this before we jumped on this, the law of compound choices. You can see the law of compound choices working in my life and your life when we make bad decisions, but you started making good decisions and you are not even close to being the person you were. So the law of compound choices works both ways. And
Yes.
this idea of the blueprint and not talking about it, it's like you're always going to find suffering in silence, right? You're just
Mhm.
always going to find that. And I'm just so grateful that you made your way out. So how did this all begin to change? What happened? What are the steps that happened? What happened for this thing to all begin to turn around and you begin to make different choices that led you to the life you are right now?
The first start was I had to be honest with myself. So
Mm.
on that day was honesty, right? All right, this is who you are, Earl, and own it. And then I had to wake up the next day and sit in it, live in it, be that. Like this is who you're still this person. You are
Mm.
still this person. And after about 3 or 4 days of sleeping in my car, waking up with nowhere to go, getting off of work with nowhere to go, finding an empty parking lot so I can sleep in, um, because I had to make the choice. My wife and 3 kids were going to leave the house, and I was going to stay in this, 3-bedroom house, or I was going to leave and leave my children comfortable, right? They didn't deserve for, to be at their uncle's house or, grandma's house or wherever,
Right.
I caused enough pain. So I leave. I leave and I don't go to my parents' house. I don't go to a friend's house because I felt like people around me would probably enable me, would take my side, like, you know what, you're good, man, and I didn't need that. I didn't want that. And I think that was the best decision that I made because
Mm.
it helped me sleep in my car. It helped me stay vulnerable. It
Mm.
helped me want to get better.
Mm.
And I slowly started after about a week to realize that if I'm going to be something different and not, be this person that I am, then I just have to start like just today. Just
Right.
today, I'm not going to drink, and my wife's never going to know, but God's going to know.
Mm.
Someone is watching me. And at that point I had to believe that there was some accountability.
Mm.
And before I tried to like push that out, like, no one sees this, or I'm gonna, do this and no one can see this, but they're gonna see all the good stuff that I do, right? If
Mhm.
people are gonna see the good, then the bad is revealed as well. And once I got to that point where I had to be accountable, and someone was like, "Hey, Earl, how you doing today? Like, you gonna do what you said you're gonna do?" Um, I started to make better choices at work. I started to notice how much sharper I was at work within a week or two. I
Mhm.
was already feeling thin, probably because I couldn't eat over stress, and I wasn't drinking. So I felt a little more alive and a little more energy. And it started to slowly give me hope. Like now, I'm not going to be that person that I feared standing in front of the judge.
Mm.
Now I'm going to turn it around. So when I do go in front of the judge, or when I do see my kids finally, they're going to see a better version. And I
Mm.
still wasn't committed to, I'm going to stop drinking forever, right? This is just to get my family back because I'm still the same Earl, right? I'm
Mm.
still going to manipulate my way
Mm.
to get in and then probably continue my old habits.
Right.
Um, but each day that I made a good choice, I gained strength.
Mm.
And each day that I did what I said I was going to do, I got stronger.
Mm.
And when I did things in private and didn't know, and no one needed to see it, I got stronger, right?
Mm.
It was all inside, all inside. No one at work knew I was sleeping in my car. None of
Mm.
my family members knew I was sleeping in my car. They didn't know I was, showering and, at work. And, and that only lasted about 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And my wife had a little empathy on me because I'm the father, right?
Mhm.
and she still believed in me.
Mm.
She made a hard choice, and I forced her hand on that, and she gave me a million chances, but 1,000,001, it wasn't gonna happen. So she
Mm.
allowed me to come in when they were asleep. You can take a shower, you can do your thing, you can get your clothes, we can get you some laundry, and then you're out. So
Mhm.
uh, once I got to that level, I was like, oh, there's a little nugget in that. Like I'm making some progress.